Hey guys, it's Jemmy James here, and I just want to say thank you very much for tuning into this video. I have never made a pedalboard video in my life, but I've always wanted to do one. I've always been interested in watching other people's setups, and other setups that I've watched over the years has helped inspire this rig into what it is today. This rig has been years and years of making, and I'm happy to say that it's been something that has been completed since 2016. I've only added two things here and there, which is pretty much the same kind of pedal, but we'll get into that later. I got my very first guitar pedal, well, I got my very first two guitar pedals back when I was in the 5th grade in 2008 from my older brother. And you know, my obsession with gear and pedals kind of sparked from there at a very young age, and I'm happy to say that those two pedals that I've had from the very beginning are on this board, and I'm really excited to show you this pedal board, which I have not changed in about 4 years. Seriously, this rig has pretty much stayed the same way ever since I filled it up. So over the years, my pedal board has looked like something like this, and it's looked like this, and then it's looked like this, and at one point it even looked like this, and when I completed the pedal board it looked like this. And now the pedal board in 2020, it looks like this. So the pedal board is a Pedaltrain 2, an original Pedaltrain 2. Thank you, Dad, for getting me that Pedaltrain. It is super sturdy, it's super reliable. I have not had one problem with it yet. I've done a lot of gigs with this thing. I haven't toured with it yet, but one day we'll get to that point. And the pedal board is powered by a Truetone CS7 power supply, and I love it, it's amazing. The pedal board is pretty much primarily wired by soldered Covenant cables. Thank you so much for David Park for making incredible cables back when he was the original owner. And a few little George L solderless cables that I just had lying around for pedals that couldn't fit in tight spaces, and they haven't broken on me, and they still work fine to this day. Now the amp I am running today is my trusty old Vox AC15. It's mic'd with a Shure SM57, and also getting a little bit of blend of the room mic which I'm using, which is a Rode NT1. And my clean tone with no compression, no drive sounds like this. So nice and clean, almost at the edge of breakup, and that's the way I like to run my amps. And it's loud in here. So the first pedal in the chain of this pedal board is pretty much the brains of this pedal board, which is the Goodwood audio interfacer, which is a Junction Box. And what's cool about it is that it's not usually in red sparkle. When Goodwood Audio started releasing the interfacer Junction Box, they put out a special Kickstarter edition where there was 15 red sparkle ones made, and I so happen to have one. So this Junction Box has a passive input, a passive output, a buffered input, and a buffered output. It also has a stereo summing switch, meaning if your pedal board is in stereo and you either have one amp, or if you're playing a show and one of your amps which is in stereo dies, you have a switch which is able to sum your stereo pedal board into mono while still receiving your full signal, so no signal is lost, and it is amazing. And what's awesome about it is it has a master mute switch, so if you have delay or reverb trails which are going too long, or you play a wrong note with the reverb pedal trailing, you can hit that switch and it'll immediately kill your signal. So my first pedal in the chain after the passive input and output of the Goodwood audio interfacer is my JHS Mini Foot Fuzz. I got this pedal because I was really inspired by people like Stu G and Drew Shirley, who had this on their board, and it sounded massive, and it was a fuzz. I like fuzz. I was like, oh yeah, it's small enough to fit into this pedal board. Why not try it out? And I love it. I pretty much run it full blast, almost full blast, and the volume pretty much at unity gain, and it sounds like this. Love that pedal. And then after the fuzz pedal, we have a standard Dunlop Crybaby wah-wah pedal, a GCB 95, and we all know what a wah pedal sounds like. Just your standard wah-wah. Then after the wah, it goes into the buffered input of the Goodwood audio interfacer, and out of the buffered out goes into the Empress Compressor. Now the Empress Compressor is a pedal which always stays on in my rig. I love it so much, especially with that mix knob that it has where you're able to blend the compressed signal and your original guitar signal. It sounds so good, like it kind of adds like a little bit of sparkle to your tone, and also gives it a little bit of a volume boost, helping my amp kind of compress a little more. It gives it a bit of sustain, and I pretty much run it with a pretty fast attack and a pretty fast release on a 4:1 compression ratio. It's just really nice. So here's my tone without it. Here's my tone with it. It's like you couldn't really tell it was on, but it's there and it makes a massive difference to my tone and the way it feels. Without it, with it. Such nice sustain. Then after the compressor, we have the Moore Tender Octaver version 1. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about this pedal, but this is the pedal which Moore completely replicated the circuit of an Electro Harmonix Nano Pog. And it is the exact same circuitry, exact same sound, and Moore actually got sued for recreating this pedal exactly the same way it was. So I have a lawsuit pedal and it sounds amazing. Now there's a few ways that I actually use the octave pedal. One of the ways is actually to combine it with fuzz and get a massive sound which sounds like this. Another way I like to use it is for ambient sounds, kind of making organ sounding swells and things sounding bigger for ambient lead lines. It's pretty cool. So next pedal in the chain is my overdrive pedal, which is the Jetta Jet Drive version 2. This is my favorite dual overdrive on the planet. It sounds amazing. I love how the two sides can either be used separately or cascaded together to create a heavy lead or a heavy rhythm tone. I love the circuit so much. So the green side is kind of like your amp style breakup tone, and then the blue side is kind of like a more mid-push heavy, not quite a tube screamer, almost like a tube screamer. Almost like a clon, kind of like that mid thing, and it sounds amazing. Here's both sides put together. Yeah, it sounds awesome. The green side's kind of a little more open, and then the blue side's more compressed, and when you put them together, it just soars and sounds amazing. So the next pedal in my chain is the original MI Audio Crunchbox Distortion version 2. Now the cool story about this pedal is actually it's the first pedal I ever got in my life alongside with the Crybaby. Those are the first two pedals I got back in the 5th grade in 2008 from my older brother. Actually, majority of my pedals have come here from my older brother. You know, there was a time where he was a massive gearhead. He actually still is a massive gearhead. He's more of a gearhead than I am. But obviously times change and he grew up, has a family, so he passed on the pedals to me. And this Crunchbox is actually not my original one. My original one that I had, which was a V2 as well, it had a problem with the circuit. It started to crackle because I guess it was getting old. And then my friend Ryan actually bought another V2 and he gave it to me as a gift. He's like, man, thanks for, you know, being a good mate. And he gave me a version 2, and that version 2 that's on my board is the one that Ryan gave me. And he still has my original version 2 Crunchbox. It's pretty much like a Marshall JCM 800 in a box, and it sounds amazing. Now, I don't run the gain too high on these pedals because I like to stack them, but you know, if I want to go all out, I'll crank the gain of the Crunchbox and it just go wild. Yeah. So after the Crunchbox, we have the Jackson Audio Prism, which is a boost which does many great things. It does 3 different types of boost circuits, 3 pre-gain settings, and a 2-band EQ, which adjusts your treble and bass, and it is amazing. I so happen to have a limited edition black version, which came from my buddy Steven Tijerino, all the way from San Francisco. It actually replaced my boost pedal, my original boost pedal, which is the Caroline Guitar Company Icarus Boost. I love that boost pedal. I'm never getting rid of it. It sounds amazing on every amp I've played on, especially Vox style amps. My friend was just selling me this for a really good deal, so I snagged it. It was limited edition, so I was like, why not? It's a boost, and it does many great things. So I usually use this pedal as a kind of a clean boost and a solo boost. If I want to muck around with different settings, I'll do that another time, but when I'm playing in the live setting, it's just used as a boost. So here's my tone with that. Here's the Prism. Makes it a bit more louder, compresses it a little bit, gives me a tiny bit of gain but not too much. I'm running it in the medium pre-gain setting and using the amp mode. If I wanted to go a bit more ham on it, I could do that. And then if I want to unleash my inner Brian May, I'll activate the treble boost side and crank up the gain. Yeah, I don't want to get into that too much, but yeah, especially when you've got an AC style circuit and a treble booster, why not? So after the Jackson Audio Prism, we go into my volume pedal, which is a Dunlop Volume X. This replaced an old Ernie Ball VP Junior that I have. You know, it's still there. You can see in the video I'm holding it. Pretty much it's still the exact same thing, it's just a volume pedal, but this one doesn't have a string attached to it, so no breaking, and I don't seem to have any issues with volume loss, and it works. So the volume pedal comes after the drives, and then after the volume pedal we go into my first delay, which is the TC Electronic Nova delay. I got this pedal from my buddy Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. I love this pedal so much, and I pretty much use it, especially when I'm playing a set list with presets. I've made my own presets. I have 4 main presets that I use, which is pretty much a quarter note delay, a dotted eighths, and a dual delay, two different types of dual delays. And it's so easy to use. If I want to make it a digital sound, I'll just turn the knob to make it more digital. If I want to make it darker, I'll just turn the knob back, and it works. And here's one of my main settings that I like to use. Then after the Nova delay, we go into my second delay, which is the Boss DD7. I love this delay so much. Currently in this pedalboard setting, I'm using it as more of an ambient style delay, having it in reverse and cranking up the mix a little bit more, which sounds like this. But usually I'll run it in an analog type delay, or if I want a pristine dotted 8 sound, because you cannot beat a Boss dotted 8 sound delay, I'll adjust the settings on the DD7 and use it that way. So coming out of the Boss DD7, we go into my first reverb, which is the Boss RV5. I fell in love with this pedal as soon as I heard the modulate setting. Again, my friend Jimmy introduced me to the sound of this pedal and it blew my mind. I love this pedal to death. And I pretty much just leave it at modulate because it sounds amazing. Then the last pedal in the chain is the TC Electronic Hall of Fame version 1. I usually use this pedal for the more natural sounding delays, or if I wanted an ambient type delay that wasn't so heavily saturated in modulation, I'll either use my tone print setting, a church or a hall setting. Currently, right now I have it in hall and it sounds like this. A little subtle, but I can increase it to give it a bit more. Combine that with a bit of delay. So yeah guys, that's pretty much my pedal board. I have a bajillion combinations that I have in my head which I can combine with this pedal board. It has all the sounds I could ever want and ever need. And if I ever needed any more pedals, I have a Line 6 Helix, and if I wanted to adjust stuff, I can do that. But yeah, I've toyed around my pedal board so much that I have a lot of sound combinations that I've thought of. Pretty much why fix it if it ain't broken. I love this pedal board so much. I have so many tones and options, and it's very practical. It helps me concentrate on my playing, but at the same time be creative while not being so much of a distraction to me. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video, and stay tuned for more stuff. Peace! Yeah.